Welcome to this special edition of Forward DFW from the North Dallas headquarters of Arca Continental Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, our local bottler and a company of Arca Continental, one of the largest Coca-Cola bottlers in the world. Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Ron Corning. We are so glad to be back here at the North Dallas headquarters of Arca Continental Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages and joined by the associates, or the frontline heroes as they call it here at Coca-Cola Southwest. Today we're talking about how this company is making our planet a better place to live, a cleaner place to live. Their work with sustainability and environmental wellness is not going unnoticed. And Abraham Tuemi is joining us here. He is the Director of Sustainability. Abraham, thank you for being part of this conversation. I'm curious to know, first out of the gate, where did your personal passion for sustainability and the environment come from?
You know, that's actually a funny story because I'm a chemical engineer by training. I studied chemical engineering. When I first started, I thought I was going to work in the petrochemical industry. And a few years on my journey, on my learning experience, I started realizing how relevant this was becoming and how important it was to start thinking about the future on the companies where we do business. So I started positioning myself towards, recycling and trying to learn that. And it was not until I joined Arca Continental and started working on that I realized, first, I hadn't learned anything in school. There was a whole lot more to learn. But B, the role and the impact that we can do on the initiatives that we make is so significant, and it really makes a long-lasting difference when companies are invested in this.
I feel like what you're saying in part is that Arca Continental, where you started your career in Monterrey, Mexico, was sort of ahead of even what they were teaching in universities about what we needed to do for sustainability. That was happening here as well at Coca-Cola Southwest when you came on board a couple of years ago, and yet you've taken this even further, which I think is really just an interesting trajectory for you, but a great accomplishment for this company. What was the number one implementation or change that's happened here during your time that you think accounts for the success so far?
I would say definitely the biggest highlight we have to date is our inclusion of 50% recycled content across all our plastic portfolio. When you grab, and I have an example here, when you grab bottles made with 100% recycled content, those are coming from bottles that we collect, we pick up, we bring back to our recycling facility, and then we create new bottles out of those. So having half of the plastic that we use come from recycled bottles, that's something that we were the first within the Arca businesses to achieve. But we were also the first bottler in North America, in the US, to achieve that.
So just to understand it, when I pick this up, that means all of the plastic in this bottle is from bottles that have been used before, they've been recycled.
Yes.
But the average standard that you've reached with all of your plastics is 50% of the content in those bottles.
Correct.
That means, though, doesn't it, that I as a consumer have to be more aware and mindful that when I'm done with this bottle, I put it in the right bin?
Yes, exactly.
So initiatives nationwide that have been implemented by a number of different institutions and organizations have probably helped you reach that 50% goal.
Yeah.
And yet you're the only company that's reached 50%. So you're doing something a little different beyond that. What do you think the secret to that success is?
I think the secret to that is definitely our relationship with the community. We've been able to really go in and understand community needs at a granular level and go in and invest in those communities, do infrastructure grants, do community and education grants, do a whole array of different initiatives that help us increase the volume of material that is being collected in those sites, but also ensure that that material does get recycled and does find its way to the end, which is a plastic recycler that will bring those back as new bottles for us.
Well, here are some of the numbers. So the 20 ounce and 13.2 ounce bottles of core brands made with 100% recycled plastic, Dasani water bottles being among them, that's also your brand. You've reduced nearly 32 million pounds of plastic waste each year.
Yes.
So that too is a benchmark or a new milestone that you've reached. And I want to say that while you came from Arca Continental in Monterrey, Mexico, which had sort of been to that point kind of the benchmark leader in sustainability, you now, having been here, have taken that bar and set it even higher.
Yeah.
Do you have colleagues down in Monterrey, Mexico that you talk to who go, hey, Abraham, what's going on up there? What are you doing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we get that question very often. And I would say here, what was happening is there were a lot of initiatives. The company has been engaged with the community for a long while. So there's been a lot of initiatives that we've created. And really me coming in was just kind of connecting the last piece of the puzzle in a lot of existing initiatives and helping move everything to the next level. So that's why in a matter of 2 years, we flipped it completely and became the top performing bottler in North America and across the ARCA systems on plastic recycling.
I would think as more people become more aware of the importance of recycling, which is contributing to your efforts, and as you inform people, as we're doing here, more of the milestones you've reached, even your competitors are going to rise up to try and meet the challenge, are they not?
Yes. And we work with them in some initiatives. We work through the American Beverage Association. We do.
You work with your competitors.
Yeah, we work together. We see this as a joint effort. The reality is, creating equitable recycling access for all. That should be something that all beverage companies should strive for.
So you're still not sharing the recipes for the beverages, but you'll work on the sustainability part.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
There are some secrets will not be shared here today in this conversation. And the conversation is going to continue as we talk about not just sustainability as it relates to plastics, but what you're doing in the community with clean water and other such things. And as we head to break, we want to give you a closer look at exactly how this process of bottle recycling works. We'll be right back.
Greetings, Bill Nye here. Today, I'm made of plastic, recycled plastic. Now, if I told you that climate change brought on by a warming world is not a problem, you'd probably say, Bill, have you lost your head? If we can recover and recycle plastic, we can not only keep it from becoming trash, we can use that plastic again and again. It's an amazing material. What's more is that when we use recycled material, we also reduce our carbon footprint. What's not to love? So the good people at the Coca-Cola Company are dedicating themselves to addressing our global plastic waste problem. They know they have a responsibility to help solve this issue, and their goal? Create a world without waste. They want to turn every single plastic bottle of whatever you wanted before into a new bottle of whatever you want now. For this, we need to close the loop. Once you finish your tasty drink, you throw it into a recycling bin, and the loop begins. This part of the loop is MRF's turf. Haulers bring all kinds of stuff to the MRF, where things get sorted. Steel gets pulled away by straightforward magnetic attraction. Aluminum gets whisked aside by complicated magnetic interaction. And cardboard and paper get sorted and soaked. The loop keeps moving along with plastic. Plastic gets sorted by an optical gizmo, or by hand. It gets wrapped into bales, just like bales of hay, only completely different. Plastic is sorted and baled by size and composition. For our refreshing beverages, we go for bales of clear, good old polyethylene terephthalate, the #1 plastic. These bales are then sent off to a PET reclaimer, who breaks up the bales, sorts and washes the plastic, and grinds it into flakes like cereal. The flakes are melted into pellets. The food-grade pellets are then melted again and formed into tube-like preforms that look like large dowels. Coca-Cola bottlers buy the preforms and blow them into bottles. They look just like new bottles. Wait, they are new bottles, ready to be filled with fresh and refreshing Coca-Cola products. Voila! We've closed the loop. By closing the loop, we can create a world without waste, but with refreshing taste. Let's go!
Being a volunteer means embracing sustainability in every aspect of our lives, becoming aware of the needs of those around us, innovating in the face of challenges, identifying opportunities, and acting with purpose, knowing that together, we are change. we can make a difference. It implies heading a long transformational road that begins with small actions, that joins efforts to create a better future for our family, for our communities, for our planet. At Arca Continental, we act to build a better future.
That is a quick look, just a snapshot really of what Volunteer Day looks like for Arca Continental Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages. It's a global initiative, and we're going to talk more about how you can get involved and volunteer along with the company coming up, and also how the company is involved in the community, specifically with a clean water program. Here's what that looks like.
Water does a lot for us. It provides refreshment, nourishment, and of course, entertainment. Lots of entertainment. That's why at Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, we're dedicated to doing more for water. We're capturing rainfall using our own collection tanks, using that water to maintain, cool, and clean our facilities, and even providing our community with the supplies to make their own rain barrels. Because without water, life sure would be dry.
And Abraham Tueme, the Director of Sustainability for Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, is back with us now to continue this conversation. And I'm looking here at the number of organizations, and I think this is really a limited list, the number of organizations that you're involved in. Take us through it, if you will, one by one. Ducks Unlimited, how are you involved with them, and what kind of a difference do you think is being made?
Absolutely. So with Ducks Unlimited, we're sponsoring a project here around the Dallas area where we're going to be capturing flood events and making sure that that water, instead of creating catastrophic consequences, it actually flows back into the Trinity River and replenish some of the volume of water that we use.
I mean, that's a really hyper-local activity serving this community, right? Yeah. And I would think that involves cooperative efforts with Army Corps of Engineers, the city, the county, all of those things.
Yes. It's a long list of partners, even including in our case, Coca-Cola Company, match our contribution, and they came and support this effort because we have that same idea and the same belief that clean water should be available for everyone.
You all have a shared mission, and that's an important part of it. The Galveston Bay Foundation, so that takes us down to Galveston Bay. What's happening there? In
Galveston Bay, we have we do this across our territory, but Galveston is our oldest partner. We're working on creating a rain barrel workshop there. Over 5,000 rain barrels have been distributed to date. And we do that throughout the year. That community comes in, they learn how to create a rain barrel. They take our own syrup containers, so they reuse our syrup containers to create their own rain barrel, and then they bring that home to reduce their water usage.
So you're recycling your containers,
yes.
So that's a contribution, right, to environmental wellness, and then they're capturing rainwater with them.
Yes.
This says litter catching devices. Is that a trash can?
No. So that litter.
Listen, I'm here to ask the questions.
You're good. Litter catching devices. We have those installed around our waterways, and what those do is they help prevent floating litter.
I got you.
So stop on the source before they flow into the larger water bodies.
And let us say that some of that litter ends up in our waterways by people who throw them in there. So on the one hand, while people are being mindful about recycling bottles, which is helping your efforts with recycling, people are still littering.
Yes.
I mean, and I know there are many initiatives to stop that. That's just a human behavior that's kind of a little unsettling, don't you think? Mm-hmm. We've talked about you being involved in the community, like really taking steps. You also invite the community in.
Yes.
In various ways. I would think that speaks to that two-way relationship.
Yes, absolutely. So the way we look at this is, we partner with the nonprofits, we work with them, but the nonprofits are part of their communities. And us, as the Coca-Cola bottler, we're also part of the communities where we operate. So we see the opportunity to partner together and to do projects. And with Keep Texas Beautiful, we do that across the territory. In fact, this past weekend in the city of Mesquite, we had our large volunteering day effort for our Dallas.
It was called the Trash Bash.
Mesquite? Yes, the Mesquite Trash Bash.
No, I emceed their Keep Mesquite Beautiful event a couple of weeks ago, not realizing until I got there that you're a partner with them in their own initiatives. And so We know that that speaks to this idea that communities do care, and they've cared for a very long time. Keep Mesquite Beautiful is 35 years old. But when you step in and bring your force of volunteers and bring people to the site, it must really mean a lot to them, I would think.
Yes, in fact, I would say it's a joint effort. You know, they have the knowledge, they have the understanding of what is needed in the community. And we come in, we bring, as you mentioned, we bring our volunteers, we bring obviously beverages for everyone to hydrate after the effort, and we work together on achieving these shared goals.
Arbor Day Foundation, I mean, even as a kid, the public service announcements around Arbor Day, planting a tree, it's a really well-recognized brand, it's a really well-recognized initiative. I would think that helps your efforts as well when you pair with these sorts of foundations that are already entrenched in the community, and they've brought us some distance in understanding the importance of the environment.
Yes, absolutely. And Arbor Day Foundation, one of the things that I like about them the most is that they also have that same approach of connecting locally. So they connect with local nonprofits that typically wouldn't have the resources and all the technical knowledge to achieve large-scale efforts, but they have a strong volunteering force. So we work with Arbor Day Foundation to get to those partners, to those smaller partners, and create some long-lasting projects with them, like an 8,600 tree planting effort that we did earlier this year in Wimberley.
I see that, more than 8,000 trees in Wimberley. You planted trees at 2 schools in Dallas. So again, partnering with an organization that's well-known, that has a mission and a message that aligns with what you do, is really lending itself to progress. And as we take a break, we want to show you a little bit more of what that Arbor Day Foundation work really looks like. And we'll be back right after this.
Today we're planting about 600 trees at Blue Hole in Wimberley Park. And this is part of our Central Texas Floodplain Reforestation Program.
It's a really nice event we're doing. We planted 600 tree seedlings today as part of an 8,600 effort.
The point of this program is to restore degraded floodplains, and especially to restore those riparian buffers along creeks and streams.
We had a lot of volunteers today joining and being a part of the effort.
We had about 100 sign up, and it looks like we got almost 100%.
We usually last about an hour, and then we get on each other's nerves and stop.
We break up volunteers into groups of 2, and one person usually does the digging, and the other person puts the tree in, and they put a flag on each tree, and then they can come back and water. The trees will hopefully grow into big, beautiful trees.
We're a small town. We don't have a big budget, and so protecting areas like this and giving back to them, we need partners.
It's good to know that this is part of a nonprofit and private entity partnership, in our case with CCSWB, and that there are organizations like ours that are willing to go and invest in the community.
I think it really shows when a big company like Coca-Cola will put money towards an event like this, that they care about communities like ours. We're a tiny fraction alone, but together we're a bunch of people and we're part of what makes this country great, and so we appreciate that support.
Sustainability is a significant priority for CCSWB, and it's become more of a priority when we got the opportunity. We sponsored this event with Tree Folks, and we're planning on finding more opportunities to continue doing that.
Just want to thank Coca-Cola and Tree Folks and everybody who's put together.
Thank you so much, Coca-Cola.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, we've established all the ways that Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages is really raising the bar on recycling from the inside out. We've talked about their connection to organizations that are helping with the environment as well. They're also putting their money where their mouth is, and Abraham Tuemi is back with us, the Director of Sustainability, and you have a grant program. It's sort of tied to Keep Texas Beautiful in a way, what we've already talked about. Tell us about what happens every November on Texas Recycles Day.
Yeah, absolutely. So every November on Texas Recycles Day, we go out with community members, and we ask them to submit proposals of how can they improve recycling programs in their community. We work with the group of Keep Texas Beautiful to identify which proposals have the highest potential of success, and then we fund those proposals and we create recycling programs in those communities. To date, we have over 150 partners that we've supported with these efforts, and we've donated a good amount of infrastructure and community investments that help also created education programs and just an overall understanding of what is needed for a recycling program.
So that's that piece of it we were talking about, how you make people more aware of where to take that bottle, where to put it, the importance of recycling it. You're contributing to that as well, that level of awareness through programs like this. In fact, 3 rounds of grants supporting 37 cities across the state, 3.5 million residents with increased recycling access, and over 8 million incremental pounds of recycled material. You also work with McAllen and their recycling center. What does that relationship look and feel like?
The McAllen Recycling Center is actually one of our oldest partners, and we started working with them. At first, they were having issues with how could they process the material, and we helped them fix that problem. And on that trajectory, we identified, you know what, this facility actually has a significant opportunity to grow. So we've been working with them on helping them achieve more counties, helping them reach more residents. And over a 2-year span, they've tripled the recycling outlet, and they've been able to ship all of that material for processing. So we've recycled over 2 million pounds of material from them.
We did become aware some years back, and I think this speaks to it, that because so many people began recycling, some of these plants couldn't necessarily handle it all, and some of it was ending up in the landfill. And so your goal here is to cut down on that so these recycling centers can really reach their optimum potential, right, and their full capacity and beyond. The last time I was here, we talked about Community Canvas, which is such an interesting program where you reach out into communities and young artists have an opportunity to really express themselves through their art, along with support from all of you. But there is one young man in particular who's been working diligently to create art using recycled materials from around the country, but specifically in this partnership with Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages. Let's meet him.
My name is Grant Monnier. I'm known as the eco-friendly artist. I work with recycled materials such as magazines, calendars, wallpaper, posters, anything that's recyclable. I take all those materials and I create beautiful eco art.
Wow, what an amazing young artist. That is Grant Monnier, who's really part of a new generation that's spreading the message and doing it through art. I think that's such an effective way to spread a message, do you not?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's an amazing way for him to really connect his two passions, connect what he represents as part of the artist community, but also represents his passion towards sustainability, and integrate that and bring in those recycled materials. I'm a fan of his work.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to say that as part of his platform and part of his awareness work is not just about art and using recyclable materials, but he also has autism.
Yeah.
And he stands as such a shining example of how you can, make your way in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And that's part of Grant's mission as well. And so we're going to learn more about him in just a little bit. So all of these efforts, Community Canvas, Arbor Day Foundation, it's just an ever-growing and evolving sort of effort on your part. What's next?
Oh, that's a good question. We work with the community every day, so we're always looking for options of how can we best support the communities. Sometimes that looks from a sustainability, water conservancy standpoint. Other times it's around education and how can we best support our communities by bringing equitable access to education. So the reality is, we'll see, but we'll be here with the community, we'll be engaged, and we'll listen to what is needed.
And that's just it, being a listening culture, which is what you are. The phone rings and there's a community that says, hey, I heard about this, because they may hear about this through us today, and the phone rings, or maybe an email comes in, or they send you a Facebook message. In any case, however they reach you, you're there to listen and take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're part of this community, and we are a good partner. We want to be a good neighbor.
All right, Abraham Tuemi, thank you so much for your work here, everything that you do at Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages. Thank you to the associates from Arca Continental, Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, for being here today. I'm Ron Corning with FWDDFW, together with the Dallas Morning News. We will see you next time, but not before you learn a little bit more about artist Grant Monnier. Take care, everybody.
My name is Grant Monnier. I'm known as the eco-friendly artist. I work with recycled materials such as magazines, calendars, wallpaper, posters, anything that's recyclable. I take all those materials and I create beautiful eco art. Having autism can give me anxieties from time to time. Working on my art helps me soothe those anxieties. I don't let autism define me. I define my autism with my talents and skills. The type of art that I do is called collage art. I use cool colors, cool shapes, and cool textures. I like to call my art coolages. Sometimes I would be working on a piece and I could be doing it for hours and hours and I won't even notice. Like when I start from the beginning, it was like 1 in the afternoon. By the time I look up, where'd the sun go? Some of those doors that have been opened because of my autism is not only do I speak for those with autism, but also with other disabilities and special talents as well. I've helped raise over $450,000 for great causes with my art, and that money has gone back into first responders, wheelchairs, hearing aids, special needs camps, and so much more. The art piece that Coca-Cola has commissioned me to do, it's a representation of Earth Day, and it's also a representation of the materials that I use as well. All those different materials I brought together for this abstract. This one is the very first free abstract because it's not condensed into a single image like a peacock or a butterfly or an owl. It gave me the perfect opportunity to try this new method out. I recognize Earth Day through my art, but not just as one single day. When I work on my art, I recycle so many different materials like wallpaper, calendars, puzzles, and that slowly but surely, bit by bit, can decrease the landfills to help keep our Earth green and clean. And I do this every day, not just on Earth Day, because we live on this planet and we have to take care of it. Because if we don't, who will? Remember everyone, it's not what you can't do that makes you different. It's what you can do that makes the difference. My name is Grant Monnier, and this is my community canvas.
To hear artist Grant Mannier's full story, go to CocaColaSWB.com/community canvas.